Now
Now we're
we
live on the
are.
tube.
Yep. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Morning Coffee Review. Today, we're going to do something similar to last week, but a little bit different. So, through some technical fun, as always, it'll be fun. But anyway, today we're here to talk about some more Autodesk Construction Cloud stuff with Bluebeam, right? So last week on Espresso Yourself, Michael and I talked with Kyle Lee, our construction specialist here at ATG, and it got pretty interesting. We got a lot of good feedback, and we decided we want to just bring him back and talk more about this because it sounds like there's a lot of questions, and it's a spot where we've got a different audience for the regular technical MCRs like we're doing today. So we figured we'd bring him back on, but of course there's a little bit of technical stuff going on there. So in the meantime, it's November. So good morning, everybody. Good morning, Michael. How's it going today?
Going good out here in the good old Grand Canyon State. We're starting to finally cool down. So we're excited about that. Excited for November and the holiday season, and looking forward to today's training. Actually, I wasn't going to be able to make it, but our leadership conference got pushed, so I am here, and I guess it's good timing with, everything happens for a reason, but good timing in terms of um, Kyle not being able to log in. So we'll go through and talk about cloud. And then I can give some comparisons. If you do have, if you were listening to Espresso yourself in terms of the construction cloud, I can talk to you about that as well. I know a lot of people messaged me after about some instances there, but the reason why we brought this back was because um, Espresso yourself, some folks don't attend that one just because it's not kind of learning, showing examples. But you can always tune in, listen to it on Spotify on maybe you're driving to work. Those types of things. If you want to go back and re-listen to it, Construction Kyle, one of our construction specialists here at ATG, talks very in depth about the differences and what ACC platform is, and all of its predecessors. We bring that up as well, and the different types of way you leverage it within in terms of a project. That's what we talked about last week in Espresso Yourself. So this week we're going to be talking about some comparisons because we didn't have enough time. There was a lot of engagement and questioning about the ACC platform. So this time around, we are going to do a showdown. That was the thought. So once DJ CJ's in the same office as Kyle, she's going to go help him out. Hopefully they can jump in. But until then, we'll talk about cloud. I think that's where we're going to go, right, Jason?
The Bluebeam Cloud?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should start there, right?
Okay.
So last week on Espresso Yourself, it was all, audio. We weren't really showing screens or doing anything like that. So this will be a good opportunity to actually have some context behind that. So we'll start with Bluebeam Cloud. We'll talk about some of those more common workflows that it is intended for. Then we'll hop into Autodesk Construction Cloud, see how they compare, talk about PlanGrid, or have Kyle talk about PlanGrid. I see some of you have been using PlanGrid for a while too. So it'll be interesting, right? And why are we having this conversation, right? MCR is based around the Bluebeam community. Well, that's true. However, a lot of Bluebeam users are also dealing with the Autodesk Construction Cloud. And usually this time of year where, you know, subscriptions are due and people are like, well, which one do I really want to use? We're just trying to help enable you to make that right decision for your firm and your workflows. And since we have, staff here who understand them, that's what we're here for. We're here to be a sounding board. We're here to make sure that you're using the right solution. And sometimes that right solution might not be Bluebeam. It might not be Autodesk. It might be something else. And we will just tell you, we look to match those workflows to the proper solution. So that said, I see in the chat, holiday season, bunch of due dates coming up on Thanksgiving, proposals for Christmas. You guys all staying busy out there? Looks like. We were talking about this the other day with some of our new hires that it is busy, and it is oddly busy. So
busy is a good thing. If you're
yeah,
too busy, be aware that we can help you with that as well. Help in terms of production. So if you all folks feel like you're doing more than 40 hours a week, feel free to reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to help. Kyle got in, so IT issue solved. Seems like
working on it. Working on it.
Working on it. Okay.
There we go. I think we're about there, guys. Sorry about that.
You're
no,
good.
it's all good. Well, everybody, let me introduce you to Kyle Lee, aka Construction Kyle, aka Biker Kyle, aka just a good old guy to have around. Last week we talked about things on Espresso Yourself, and today we're going to dive in a little bit more. And this time we've got show and tell capabilities, right? So we're going to fire up some software. We're going to take a look at some things and do with the time that we have, we can't do a proper, head to head, but we're going to do what we can. So we're going to start with Bluebeam Cloud because Michael has that pulled up and ready to show, right?
I sure
and
do.
Then, and there we go.
I just have to remember which screen it's on. I got new HDMI cables because I was tired of switching them over from my other computer to this computer. So
okay,
good. We're right screen.
Yep. I can see that. And yes, Bruce. Kyle's a real biker with a Harley Davidson, and I'm a fake biker with a lot of bicycles. So there's that.
I used to be a biker in terms of riding BMX bike, but too old for that now. I could do mountain biking.
Sounds like Bruce is a motorcycle enthusiast himself as well. So awesome, Bruce. Yeah, man. Hit me up on LinkedIn. We'll have to chat.
Kickstand Kyle.
There you go. There you go.
That's the
only problem is that my I've been accused of not having a kickstand on my bike because it's never sitting too long. I'm always on the go, it seems like.
Ooh.
There you go.
There you go.
Well, good deal. So yeah, everybody's busy. That's good to hear. So let's dive in. Let's make the most of this. So Michael's got Bluebeam Cloud opened up. And we'll go from here. And then, Kyle, if you want to pull up Build,
sure.
We'll have you switch over at some point. Just be ready to go. And we're going to sort of compare some workflows and just head to head, and we'll see where we end up.
Yeah, perfect. So what we're going to talk about, too, is I know some folks are probably going to start off with, like, does Bluebeam Cloud have, time management and, Gantt charts of project build timelines? That's not what this platform is built around at the moment. We never asked Peter Noyes that timeline for those things, but other things we did ask when we had him on when this was first introduced. But just be aware that's not what the platform is built around. This is built around the ability to, in the field, track your RFIs, place RFIs, punch lists, and submittals. As well as host your drawing packages in terms of your spec docs or any of those items on the go. However, the app is limited, so just be aware of that as well. But as we're looking at this is your My Workspace here. This is where you can upload PDFs that you just want access to that's not part of a project. And in order to have a license to access everything in here, you would need something that is higher than Basic. Basic gives you the free ability. So if you on our basic tier of Review 21, you get access to Bluebeam Cloud. And if you are on the basic tier, you're seen as a free viewer. Viewers can access and address things like punch lists and RFIs. So again, as a viewer, if something's assigned to you, you can address that punch lists or the RFIs from the viewer edition, and Basic is seen as a viewer. Now with Core and Complete, you have full access to going through and placing punch lists, RFIs, and creating submittals. But let's go through and show you. So here's My Workspace. This is where you would just upload something if you wanted access to it wherever you're at. That's what this My Workspace is for. Now, if you go into projects, these are where you're going to go through and create projects to address different items. So first from here, we're going to go into our Bluebeam Bootcamp project. So this would be you creating a project that is going to be built out in the field, right? We're at the construction phase of the project. I guess you could maybe do something more from a CD perspective, DD kind of area, but maybe not. This is really built around that construction part of the build of the project. It is a separate storage platform, so you're not connecting into projects in Studio. However, you can pull PDFs from there into here, but it's not a back and forth. It is, however, a back and forth to things like SharePoint and other integrations. So just being aware that you do have the ability to integrate into other softwares like SharePoint, OneDrive. It is a back and forth for those ones. So if you have Ignite, you have Google Drive, Box, Dropbox, OneDrive, you can connect to these. have it stored here. It pulls a copy into cloud. You can do all the things that you wanted to in here and then save it back into SharePoint box. Or these are the ones that are the open integrations right now. There is no open API yet into Bluebeam Cloud, so be aware of that as well. So if I go back into my dashboard here, here's your dashboard, location of where this is being constructed, any settings that you want to go through and manage settings for users that are in here. So if you wanted to go through and look at the permission levels, you can hit the little icon here and see what those permission levels are for those specific users. I did create a white paper. It needs an addendum with some new updates, but detailing all of these, because we're not going to get too deep in the woods, right? It's more of like, what can this do? Not a step-by-step how this works. That's not what this is for. We've done plenty of these in the past, so check out YouTube for those. But as this is a dashboard. So Bluebeam Cloud has a dashboard, Kyle Lee. So as we're looking at comparison between something in the ACC platform, what in your mind would this be comparative to just looking at this so far?
So it's going to be fairly close to what's considered the project home screen inside of Autodesk Build, because again, these particular workflows that we're looking at right here in Bluebeam Cloud, like you said, these are really based around your project management, field management type workflows. And so, drawings, documents, punch lists, RFIs, submittals, that's really all going to be applicable to Autodesk Build. And so in Autodesk Build, we have a home screen that's kind of that dashboard. So right now you're just in the landing page. Now, again, you're right, you can go down and grab your project here. When you jump in, you'll see right here. Again, now this does have a few more of those things though that Michael had mentioned earlier, the ability to set up at a very high level your project progress, putting in kind of those very high level milestone events that you're tracking across the project there. We also have the ability to see over in the top right, we see the project address, just like we see in the top left in Bluebeam there. We also have the ability to see, right here on the screen, we see our quick links. We can see the number of published construction document sheets that are in the Sheets tool set. We can also see the number of members on the project.
Wait, where are you saying publish? Sorry, I should probably just do this. This is just going to confuse me.
Yeah.
Okay.
So right down, you see where it says quick links just below the project progress area?
Right here.
Okay, so right there, so you can see you've got 122 sheets that have been published to the project that are and those are the active, the most current version of those. Okay, so we've got 122 current version sheets that have been published. Because you're an administrator, Michael, you also see that you've got the plus sheets and you've got the plus members. You have the ability to add team members or begin to upload new sheets directly from right here. We can see the site weather just to the right of those quick links right there, because I've got the project address that's been built in. If you hit that show more, it'll give us a 5-day outlook for the weather. And then over on the top left, just beside the, so if you scroll up just a little bit, I should have said top right, I apologize. We've got our recent activity just beside the project progress there. And so we can see, new photos that were added. I can see when new sheets were published, as you can see right there, new issues that have been created, etc. So, I've got my recent activity right there. Now, if we scroll down, the wrong team's on the taskbar. Let's see here. Oh, sorry about that. No, but right here, just below the quick links, this is probably one of the, in my opinion, one of the most useful pieces on the home screen, and it's the work status area. Okay. And so as you can see, we've got two separate areas. We've got your assigned work. So those are the work items that are specifically assigned to Michael. And then down below, we see the project assigned work. And so as you can see there, Michael doesn't have any overdue items, but you can see there are 19 overdue issues, 7 overdue RFIs. I leave those like that, team. This is just simply my test bed environment here, but I leave those that way so you can see the visual depiction of what's going on there and how things are going to be called out when something's overdue. So if we were to click on any one of those, whether we're talking about from your assigned work or even from the project assigned work, it would actually take me in and filter me down just to those specific items. So if Michael clicked on his 2 ongoing issues, it's going to take him to the issues tool set that we can see on the left side, but it's going to filter it down directly to the 2 ongoing issues that you see right there. So Michael, where it says your assigned work, click on those 2 ongoing issues just below that under work status.
Ongoing issues here.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Because like I say, that'll jump us into the issues tool set here, but it's already sorted and filtered to those two items, those two issue items that have been assigned to you. So a quick and easy way to jump to work that you need to be addressing, essentially, things that are assigned to you, but then also having that snapshot of what's going on as the project as a whole. But
Okay.
that home screen that home screen is really going to be the closest to what we might consider a dashboard there. Now, we do have different analytical dashboards available in the Autodesk Construction Cloud.
Would you consider issues like punch lists? Is there a punch list area?
Yes, there is. It's forms. It's forms. So now, I mean, I'll be more than happy to kind of walk through some of this. And Mike, I could probably even drive a little bit.
Yeah, we'll let you drive, but let's do a comparison real quick. So,
okay, go ahead.
I was thinking issues maybe be like the punch list, but forms you're saying would be more of the punch list items, right?
Forms are where you're going to have things like your daily reports, your checklist, punch list, safety inspections. It might just be, equipment installation punch lists or checklists.
Okay.
So you can see I've got, and what I like about this is that we have the ability to build out these forms natively within the platform. So basically putting in exactly what our question is going to be, what our options for our answers might be. And we can also tie that back to a level of, you can tie it back into other aspects. So like if I have a question that gets answered and so it's a yes and no answer, and I say no, does this pass inspection? No. If it's a no answer, it would automatically prompt and create an issue.
So you get to create your own templates here for your forms where
correct.
Yeah, and let's do comparison, because right here you have punch lists in the cloud platform. Again, Build is a separate cost, so be aware of that. And as we were talking about before in Espresso Yourself, right? We're taking it from a comparison. If you're already invested in the ACC platform, right, you may want to stay in the Build platform, right? Versus, because that's where everything's going to already be from the DD phase, right? That design development phase, and then into construction phase. Everything's living there already from the design team. Rolling it into Build may be an easier process than having a separate platform. Again, pick and choose what you want. We're just here to show you the capabilities of all of them.
Correct.
And give you a comparison. Correct. And let you make that informed decision. So as you're listening in, what are we trying to do at this point is just tell you all the information and let you make that informed decision, right?
Absolutely. There's a right size for every firm,
yep.
And that right size is different for most all firms. So it's all dependent upon what you're trying to accomplish, and also what you're trying to accomplish in conjunction with your project partners. And also that's another thing to keep in mind as well is, in many cases you may be working on a project with a GC that is already leveraging the Autodesk Construction Cloud, and so they're asking all of the project partners to do so as well. It's all about what's the right size for your team. In many cases, it may be that Bluebeam Cloud is the right size. For other teams that are, like you said, Michael, leveraging the Construction Cloud through the design process, and their GCs are going to continue to use the Autodesk Construction Cloud and Build through execution, then it may make more sense to obviously stay within that platform and just gain access to the Build licensing for those, the different workflows and tool sets that we're talking about here today.
Mm-hmm. And if you're looking at Bluebeam, right, what are some of those options that you have if you're already paying for your license, especially with the new Revu 21 platform? You have drawings here, and in drawings, you click a drawing open, and you can do this on your phone as well. You can click a drawing open, and what you're able to go through and do is place your punch lists and RFIs. What you do not have on your phone is these lightly markup capabilities with your tool chests, right? So this pane is not available on the phone app. However, you can go through and place your punch lists. And we were talking about creating forms. You can go through and create a punch list here and use it, because some folks I've talked to, they're using it maybe not like as your checklist punch list, but other things, right? So think about it in more of an open mindset, because there's not much modularity with it and being able to modify what's existing here. But you can use it not as a punch list, but maybe as a checklist or some other things that you want to go through and do, right? So being aware of that as you're listening in, people have, it says punch lists, but you can use it as other things as your firm kind of understands the process. So right here, you're going to go through and you're able to place this. You can type in your location, description. You can say what the priority is, what the due date is. You can say who it's assigned to. You can say what teams, if there are any, and scope of work. Now, what you can do now is change the scope of work, because this is now able to be modified in the settings. And I'll show you that here in a second. Before you weren't able to modify it. Now you can change this scope of work here. Now on your phone, it will say capture photo or upload photo. So be aware, if you're on your phone, you're out in the field. The other part you can do in here is place your RFIs. So if you wanted to go through and place any RFIs on this specific document, you can. So you would have created an RFI, and then you're going to select that RFI in place where that RFI is addressing. So going back here, outside of documents, you have your RFIs, and this is where you can go through and create an RFI, and then you can go and place it on the PDF of where it's supposed to be representation-wise. Now back to settings, because I talked about punch list, you can modify that scope of work now. This is new. Under punch list, you have scope of work right here, and you can now customize that scope of work. Discipline is specific to your ability to go through and talk about RFIs, and now you can modify what disciplines there are. This is new. That's kind of what I said when I said there can be an addendum to my white paper, because they're updating this more frequently now. So being aware that this part is new with these two options available. Does punch list functionality tally items to create some metrics? When you go to the punch list tab, this is your matrix, I guess you'd say, of what you're able to see. So you can go through and say what you do and do not want to see. And then you can filter out what you're looking for by priority or those other ones. So in terms of hot, high, I forget what the other ones were, but being aware that you can change priority for these as you're being placed. And in them, once you click them, you can see where that is by a little image, and you can start commenting with each other. So again, that free app, if something is assigned to you, you can go through and address these in the punch list tab. You can't place or create from the free portion or the basic tier within Revu 21, but you can comment, and you can see an overview of what these are and how to address these.
So at that point, Michael, there was a question, is this all included with Complete or whatever? And all access to Bluebeam Cloud is available with all versions of the Revu 21 subscription. But are you saying there's different functions in here that you need Complete or Core for?
Yes, correct. So Bluebeam pricing, and I did a pricing comparison. So if you want to go through and look at that, you can. I'll drop a link here in a second once we get Kyle talking again. It'll free up my time to go through and grab it. But yes, so if I scroll all the way down to the bottom, oops, too far. Right here, field tools. So basic is read only. Core and Complete have full access to the field tools.
So I was partially correct there, Bruce. You have access to it, but in order to do stuff, you need Core or Complete. Yeah,
the basic tier acts as a free version, right? So if you have any subs, you're a GC, maybe you have Bluebeam Revu 21, and you have Core Complete, you have full access to field tools, but you want your subs to work in the cloud platform to address RFIs, submittals, and punch lists. They can, for free, get into the platform, be invited to the project, see the PDFs, address those punch lists and RFIs, but they can't place them, right? They have to be assigned to the individual user that has that free, and that's by email address. Okay. So going back into cloud, when we're looking at punch lists, the comparison for build, Kyle, you're saying is issues, right?
Is forms when it comes to our punch list. Yeah, forms. So now if you want me to, I can jump in and share my screen. I think I can through the web. Now that's the thing, guys, is yeah.
We'll let you share.
So, yeah, it looks like I can.
Okay.
So here's what I want to do as well, if possible. I know that there have been, there was some mention about some people that are using PlanGrid as well as possibly ACC and Build. So what I've got pulled up here, guys, is I've got, I'm in Autodesk Build right here. This is just kind of a snapshot, same project that Michael was in. Right here, I've got PlanGrid. Okay. So when you look at these two, I know we're going to go back and we're going to talk about the comparison with Bluebeam Cloud, but for those people that are going, well, what's the difference between Build and PlanGrid? Build was basically developed off of the PlanGrid backbone, whenever you get right down to it. I mean, you can look at it and tell how much they have in common, even to the background graphics that were leveraged here in the home screen. Okay. I also like to say Build is like PlanGrid 2.0. Okay. Everything that we have in PlanGrid, we have in Autodesk Build, plus additional tool sets. Now, there may be some different names. Okay. And so, like here we have sheets and sheets correlate. Where we have tasks in PlanGrid are the same as issues. So that's something to keep in mind. Issues within Autodesk Build are not just simply for issues that we find during the course of the project. Granted, that is a way that it's leveraged heavily. And also one thing that's nice is, so let's say that we have been leveraging the Construction Cloud during the design aspect of our project. We're using BIM Collaborate Pro. If I go into my issues inside of the Build module, the same way I would inside of the Docs module, it's the same unified list of issues. So I'm seeing issues all the way from the outset of the project whenever we were doing nothing but the design process. Okay. But you can also look at this as tasks. We can import issues through a spreadsheet. So if you have your typical task list that you manage on the project, you can still set that up this way inside of Autodesk Build. I know that's the way a lot of people were using it in PlanGrid. RFIs and RFIs are exactly the same. But here in PlanGrid, they called it field reports. Here in Build, they call it forms. Okay. And here in Build, we call it files. And here they called it documents. Okay. But RFIs, photos, submittals, all of that is here in Build. You know, we've got our punch list checklist here, photos, RFIs, submittals, but now we can also create and track meetings within the platform. Now they have just recently released this correspondence tool. So now this allows me to basically file emails within my project. Okay. I can even go to send an email out, and what I typically do, I do not create emails within the project because it comes from, Autodesk Construction Cloud and do not reply. What I do is I typically will create an email from my own Outlook, come in here and grab this, and copy that and add that, put that in the to line in the email as well. And now it automatically starts to capture those emails and track those within our project here in the correspondence. We can also pull in, it is. We can pull schedule output. So this is not a schedule building tool. I want to call that out first and foremost, but we can take your schedule output from Microsoft Project, Asta Power Project, Primavera P6, and we can pull that schedule export into Build. Again, we're not going to give people on the project access to our scheduling tool. This gives us a way to output a static version that we can give them access to. They do have, certain members may have the ability to make suggestions around potential changes. You can actually take those suggestions, pull that information back into your scheduling tool, update, and then bring out and start to produce different versions of your schedule along the way. Okay. So I don't want to get too deep in there. I know that I kind of trailed off. So now when we start to talk about sheets, okay, these are our published construction documents, very much like Michael was showing us just a few moments ago.
Now, let's do a comparison here, because I know there's a cost per sheets, right, in Build, or...
So with Build, yes,
sorry.
the way, well, no. So
okay.
PlanGrid, Build licensing works exactly like PlanGrid licensing did. Okay. Now,
PlanGrid is just included in Build.
So, well, there's a caveat around that now.
Okay.
If a team has never, if someone has not ever used PlanGrid before, and you've never created projects on PlanGrid, or you're not being invited into a project that someone else is hosting from within the PlanGrid platform, then no, they're not just going to sell you Build and say, hey, by the way, you can turn on PlanGrid if you want to. Okay. If a client has had access to PlanGrid and they've used it, leveraged it in the past, and possibly still are, then they will grant you a $0 entitlement against your Build licensing to make it available on the PlanGrid platform. But that's only for clients that were basically, they're being grandfathered into this at this point. Okay. They're no longer selling brand new subscriptions to PlanGrid to start using that platform brand new. No.
Okay.
At this point, you would purchase Autodesk Build and start to leverage the Autodesk Construction Cloud platform. Okay. Now, there are user-based licenses that, and there are 3 tiers, and it is based upon the number of published sheets across all projects that member's been invited into. Okay.
So not just a single project, an
Not
actual.
just a single
Okay.
project, all projects. And I'll
So let's.
show in just a moment what that kind of looks like as well.
Okay, so
So
there is a price associated to sheets across all projects that person's been invited to, whereas cloud.
with two of those tiers. So you have the 550 sheet and 5,000 sheet licensing. Then you also have an unlimited
Okay,
licensing.
so you pay for 3 different tiers. There is an unlimited one, but there's a cost associated to it.
Correct. The other option is this is sold the exact same way that PlanGrid was sold previously, as well as the same way that Procore is sold, from the perspective of a client can purchase what's called account-based access to Autodesk Build. In that case, that client is purchasing access to an unlimited number of the unlimited sheet count licenses. So essentially at that point, they can give a license to anyone that they want to. Internal to their organization, external to any of their project partners. Give one to your owner. I've always joked and said, if the owner's dog has an email address, you can give a license to the owner's dog. They're not, you have 100% completely unlimited number of licenses that you can use. Now, when it comes to tracking your sheet count, okay, so again, I've got 122 published sheets on this particular project, but and now granted, I'm running off an unlimited license. But if I did have a sheet count limitation to my license, let me go ahead and pull this up here for myself. I can see just by clicking on myself here, I'm already accessing over 11,626 sheets is how many sheets I have access to, or how many sheets I am using.
So basically your options are just to go get unlimited.
Well, no, here's the thing. I'm invited into a ton of projects with my outside, with our clients, helping them with onboarding, helping them with troubleshooting and, implementation, the whole 9 yards. So what I have seen is I would never recommend, there's only been one scenario where the client explained to me how they worked, and I said 550 sheet count license would work for his project managers. In most instances, most people are going to need minimum 5,000 sheet count license when you get right down to it. Okay.
I mean, so you can you delete sheets out and it removes the amount that it's in there? Let's say a project's done.
Okay. That's a better example. A project is done. Okay. In order for me to quote unquote reel in those sheets that I've been using on that project, you can be removed from the project. And that would basically, any of the sheets that were being used on that project are now available again to use against your license.
Okay. So on that note, let's be aware that Bluebeam Cloud, regardless of what tier you have, because even if you're using the free version, someone asked earlier, do you need basic just to even get into cloud? No, you can create a user ID to get into cloud and have free access to the project you've been invited to. There is no limitation to storage. It is unlimited. So again, we're here to compare. So I'm bringing that out. Unlimited storage for your PDFs in Bluebeam Cloud. Again, Build is going to have more capabilities, like you just saw that schedule assistance, than what you have in comparison, right, to what Bluebeam Cloud has. So again, Bluebeam Cloud allows you to address punch lists, RFIs, submittals, whereas you're looking at the Build right here capabilities. There's a lot more going on here than what Cloud has. Absolutely. But again, yeah, be aware of those sheet counts, whereas we're doing a comparison completely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cloud is unlimited.
And so now one other thing that I will call out when we start to talk about that as well, when we start to talk about the sheet count that's associated with the individual user-based licenses, that's only for published sheets that go into the Sheets tool set. So just to give you an example, right down here, I've got the same PDF documents that I've published into my Sheets area just in my files. And this is not impacting my sheet count. Okay. The files do not impact your sheet counts. So I can come into this. Now, the one good thing, though, is that whenever I publish this into the Sheets area, it does take every sheet and breaks it out as its own individual file, just like it does in Bluebeam Cloud. Okay. Makes it a whole lot easier, in my opinion, for navigating between the different sheets. But I can come in and I can open it from the files area, but I do have to go through and change from sheet to sheet like this.
And let's take note here too. You can compare older versions of PDFs
100%.
where in Bluebeam Cloud, it just gives you, when you upload a new PDF, it just says revision 2. It doesn't let you compare the older version. So that's like red flag number one, because I'm thinking of a ref on the field. Those people that watch American football, I watch European football, so I'm thinking more soccer. But anyways, red flag on the field number one right here would be comparison's a huge thing, right? Something that was updated. You can't do comparison in Bluebeam Cloud. So we'll throw up no flag for build, but definitely a big flag at cost comparison when you're looking at the build licenses versus what you're looking at for the cloud. But again, there's more things to build. So that's, again, what we're here to talk about in these comparisons. So
absolutely.
Onward, Kyle.
Absolutely. All right, team. So again, now when it comes to, we have unlimited storage related to our files. Okay. Now, a couple of things. Well, I say that they've just recently reached out and put out this new little document, and it says that now there are some limitations. Now, I almost feel that they're laughable in many instances. The limitation for a single file that can be stored in the Autodesk Construction Cloud. Now, again, one single file, no more than 5 terabytes. That's our file size limitation.
Okay, our file
deal
size.
Breaker. Deal breaker.
Our files. So what's the maximum file size in cloud? It is 4 gigabytes. And Alex brought up a good comparison saying, Build at its current state blows Bluebeam out the water, which I would agree.
It all depends on the functionality that you need, though. That's the biggest key, in my opinion. It's all about the functionality that you need. And there's a cost associated with everything, and that's what we kind of keep coming back to in this comparison. Michael, you made a great call out that if someone's assigned to a punch list item or an RFI or a submittal inside of Bluebeam Cloud, they can come in and access that 100% for free to respond to those different items that have been assigned to them. That is a great advantage to Bluebeam Cloud, because in order for someone to come in and participate inside of an Autodesk Build project, to come in and reply back to an issue, or well, now we can throw an RFI out there and basically work an RFI via email, but we can't do that with submittals. So if somebody needs to come back and respond to a submittal item, either providing a cut sheet, or maybe you're the person reviewing the submittal data to say if it's approved or not, you have to have a license to Autodesk Build that's been assigned to you, whether that's one that your team has purchased and assigned for you, or whether it's been extended through a firm that has access to that account-based licensing model that I mentioned earlier. Okay, so huge advantage there. It's all about the functionality that you need, and what we're trying to accomplish out of it. Mm-hmm. It really is what it comes down to, I would say.
Yeah, and if those things are, be aware you can't lightly mark up on your phone, which I hope at some point they figure that out. But if you're trying to place a punch list and address it, trying to place an RFI and address it, you can do that on your phone. Or let's just talk about the big elephant in the room. Really, do we want to be carrying a sheet set out to the field and spilling coffee on it, getting rain on it, water on it? You don't need to. Yeah,
those things have been done for hundreds of years, though.
No, people still come out. Yeah. Oh, that's where you're coming at it. Okay.
Like it's not like it can't be done. I mean, paper in the field has been a thing for many, many years, but paper's expensive. Yeah, there are limitations to it.
Yeah. So instead of going out to the field with your paper set, anyone with a smartphone, and I give a grin to that because I know some people don't even have smartphones nowadays, but anyone with an Android or an iPhone can download the Cloud app, be invited to the project for free, see the PDFs, click hyperlinks. They can address punch lists that have been assigned to them, zoom in, all in the field. I know there's a caveat there because some folks are like, I just want to be able to also mark up on my phone, which you cannot do.
Actually, there's been an update.
You
can do markups. You can do rectangles, text.
No way.
Punch, and RFI. Yeah.
I'm glad you checked the app because I haven't checked it in like decades. So big update. Let me sign in on my phone and check this
And it
out.
does say add markup. So it is using that
No
term, markup.
way. So I think this is the turning point, because that was a huge sticking point, right? Like, hey, folks, why can't I only mark up in the web? So now you can mark up. Let me sign in the field, and I'll figure out what additional ones. But again, so some sticking points would be that, but now you can. So I don't know. What are you thinking?
So they're talking about using
Oh, you can. Oh my
tablet or
gosh.
Surface. Still no ability to add field dimensions. You're just going to have to use text to put those in.
Yeah. So you can do
So
rectangle. Can you hold this down? No, you can't. So
yeah,
rectangle, text, and arrow, punch an RFI placement on the phone.
this is where we need one of those cameras that points down with his finger on the phone.
I know, I'm like looking at it. You're like, come on, guys, what are you doing, Michael? So from here, down here, you can go and hit plus.
Yep.
And now check it out.
Rectangle, text, arrow, punch, and RFI. So it's worth checking out again. So I know originally, especially me, have been sort of negative on the Bluebeam Cloud app for the phone, but updates are always good, right? So it looks like we're finally getting some markup capabilities.
I mean, we've been negative in terms of saying what it's lacking, but the pros. So we love to do comparison, and we all knew when it was released, it was still kind of early beta stage, and we have to deal with what is given to us at that early beta phase, kind of. So,
Ben, one thing I'm sorry, guys. I was going back through the chat and looking at a few things here. One thing that I wanted to call out, somebody had mentioned on there that they thought that you had, with the sheet count limitation there inside of Build, that it was counting all versions. That's not correct. Now, I know. Okay, so, well, we're being recorded. It is what it is. I'm just going to call it out there and say it. I have heard some people in Autodesk, or have seen some literature with Autodesk that stated that it was counting all versions of the sheets. I have gone back and tested that, and have verified that it is only counting the most current version of those sheets. So in my project, it was showing that I had 122 sheets. Those are the current version sheets, but many of those have at least 2, if not 3 versions of that sheet that have been published up there. So it's not counting all of the previous versions towards my sheet count. So
it's just whatever's the current
out.
version. So if you have 100 current versions, it's not counting the 100 reproduction of the versions of those ones.
Correct. And then Ben Frick had also asked, if you archive an ACC project, I assume that is correct, Ben. If you either remove a member from the project, or if you archive that project, when you archive the project, it removes the members from the project and brings those sheet counts and makes them available again. If you were to bring the project back to active again, it knows who was in the project before, it invites them back into the project automatically, and then it draws down from that sheet count. That sheet count limitation that they may have there. One other thing, I saw one in there. Yeah, I know that it's kind of a silly pricing scenario there with the sheet counts. Sometimes we have to deal with that. We were also talking about, somebody said, can you search sheets or content? Now, I know that within the sheets area that I can search for content within a sheet. And I think that I'm able to do that now in the files area within Autodesk Construction Cloud there. So, I can go into my sheets and I can type in a search that says panel boards, and there's a box that says that you check that says, look for content. And so then it would show me any of those sheets that have the word panel board listed in them somewhere. And then I can click on those and it would actually show me the number of times it's listed on a single sheet as well. So that's something we could do. Now, one thing I will call out is one of the things that I saw is with PDF documents, I think that there is a limitation to the number of sheets to a PDF document that can be stored inside of Autodesk Construction Cloud. I think that it's a 2,000 sheet limit for a single PDF file. I can tell you guys that we ran across this with a project that our team was working on a few months back. It was an extremely, extremely large specification book for the project. I think it was a little over 3,000 pages. So what we did was we went into review and we broke that spec document down into 2 separate documents to get below that sheet count limitation for individual PDF file there. Okay, so just wanted to call that out because those were some of the things that we were talking about there. There are some, again, limitations to the number of folders and subfolders, but I mean, they're almost laughable when you start to look at them. I would hate to have to figure out, work my way through a project that I've got 25 different levels of subfolders under a single parent folder and possibly as many as, 100 different parent folders there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So now with that, I would say with the Cloud app, some of the iterations that you can mark up, that's been asked for a while. So now on your Android and on your phone, you would need a paid for version, by the way, to place those markups out in the field. The big ask, and Peter Noyes did say that they are working on the dimensions tool. So hopefully when that iteration comes out, it's not a phased approach like the markups was. It just allows you to do it on your phone, because that's a big thing too out in the field. Can I measure something from my mobile device? So being aware that, there's another plus additional add, but being also aware. So coming back into Build, I think let's compare PlanGrid. So Build, PlanGrid, Field app. You can still access Build on your iPhones as well through the new ACC app. There's a tab there that says, your project for the design team. It's usually where I go. And then there's the Build one, right? That tab, if I'm remembering correctly.
Well,
like
no.
Scroll
okay.
over.
So again, one of the things with the mobile app, when we stop and look at it, the new Autodesk Construction Cloud unified platform was largely based upon PlanGrid, especially for the project management and field management portion of the platform.
It says Construction Cloud PlanGrid.
That's
okay,
right. It says Autodesk Construction Cloud is the name of the app, and then it says ACC on the app itself. When you log into that app, you will see 2 tabs at the top. One says Construction Cloud. Those are your projects that are hosted in the Construction Cloud. But then if you are actively utilizing Bluebeam or have been, are on an active Bluebeam project that you've been invited into, there's a separate tab up at the top of the mobile app that says PlanGrid. So I'm using one mobile app to access my projects on both platforms. There you go. You can see PlanGrid and you can see Construction Cloud. Okay. So really, when it comes right down to it, again, Autodesk acquisition of PlanGrid, and the reason why they acquired PlanGrid was because PlanGrid was very widely used as a project and field management platform, but it was also touted as it was regarded as the most user-friendly, mobile-friendly platform for out in the field. Okay, they had people just lauded over how good the mobile app was for PlanGrid in comparison with many of these other solutions. And so Autodesk said, hey, don't try to recreate the wheel. If it's not broke, don't fix it. In many cases, they do that. But in this case, they didn't. They left the mobile app alone and just basically made it so that the Autodesk Construction Cloud platform was hosted and utilizing the same mobile app to accomplish its goals.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of questions coming up about the free. I'm not going to log into my phone because the cache data is just terrible, and I will never be able to log back into my paid for account. So let's go here and we'll just show you what this log out. I'm going to bring this over to my other screen because I don't want everyone emailing my personal email. So 1 second.
But while Michael's doing that, I did test in the Bluebeam Cloud iOS app. So I put a text box, and with that text box, you can still leave responses. So you can reply and you can set statuses. So that's pretty good. Pretty good. And you can do colors and things like that too.
Now, Chris had asked, can you add photos and 360 photos from the field? Now, I know that I can do that with the Autodesk Construction Cloud mobile app. And we could also add MP4 videos as well. Now, I'm not sure about Bluebeam Cloud, if we can add photos or 360 photos. And yes, Ben, you're just finding that, and I am still digging in on that a little bit. I haven't had a chance to test out that new functionality. We can assign GPS locations to issues now within the ACC mobile app.
And you can do GPS location for your geolocation. You have to have the paid for app to do punch lists and RFIs, by the way. So I'm logging into my never save, never please. So this is my free version. So this is my personal email address, not paid for. This keeps coming up. I was invited to this ATG demo. I can come into here, still look at things in terms of open the PDF up, and I can still look at any RFIs that have been assigned to me or any punch list, which nothing has. So if there were, I guess I should add myself to some of these. If there were, I could go in here and see them, right? Again, still go in. I can look at the punches right here. I can look at the RFIs, right? If anything was assigned to me on the drawing set, I would have seen it in that pane as well. And I can comment, hello, all, right? You probably wouldn't say that, but there we go. So I can comment on these and look at them. Okay. So again, and this was a 360 photo, but it breaks it down in Cloud. Someone asked about those photos. So this is free, Alex. You're asking, right? This does not have any paid for account. This is my personal email address added to a project. Same thing on my phone if I were to log in, but the cache data on the phone is terrible. I've done it before and I just don't want to test it again right now in terms of trying to log back into my paid for account. It would cache my non-paid for account and it would see my paid for account as free too. So it was frustrating. I'm not going to do it again. But yeah, I think that was a question everyone kept asking.
So if you go to drawings, can you add markups?
Not in the free app. You can't even
Right.
do it with basic. Yeah.
All right.
If I click into here, right, I don't have this pane anymore of markups.
But you do see the new one that I just added, that testing that new text function. That was me on the phone.
Whoa, look at that. And I think you can, no, okay. I was going to say, I think you can, can I comment on this text? No. So I just see this.
Still pretty cool.
And here's the punches on this one. Any comments? Hello, all. I see that on this specific PDF because there was punch lists on this PDF. No RFIs on this PDF yet. So
yeah. So what's that on the blues? Yeah. What is that guy?
It's like a thumbnails panel.
How dare they pull out old review icons, right? The old panels.
Yeah, I
My
think
brain went there.
Yeah, I'm hoping this will show revisions at some point. Maybe that's the embedded thing. Because right here, right, if I go to drawings, I can see the revisions, which there are none here. Oh yeah, right here. So, but that means nothing as of right now. Like maybe that's what this thumbnails panel will be. Who knows? I don't know. Wishful thoughts. So this is a free app. That's what everyone was asking for.
And I'll tell you that for folks that are using say BIM Collaborate Pro, okay, we talked about that last week. Quite a few, it sounds like quite a few folks are leveraging BIM Collaborate Pro from the design aspects. You can still leverage the Autodesk Construction Cloud mobile app. It's included. That was something that was a change they made. They knew they had to make after the first release, whenever mobile app was only available to Build license holders. But you will have access to limited functionality within the mobile app. So you would still be able to see your files, and you would also be able to see the issues that have been created, and you can create issues from within the mobile app. Now, the only downside to that is we are not able to add markups to files within the ACC mobile app. Okay, we can only add markups to our sheets from the mobile app. Okay, so that's one thing that's important to keep in mind when we look at that is, you know, a lot of people, if they're just using BIM Collaborate Pro, they're not going to have access to the Sheets tool set. That's a part of Build. And so if you're needing to make markups, and I need to double check that this hasn't changed, but I know that it, I don't recall hearing that as a part of the every other month rollout and updates, that we do not have the capability to add markups into files, only into sheets. And so I'll also jump in and take a look at this and try to verify
Yeah.
that. But
And there's a question like storage. Yep. Again, it's separate. So it's a separate cloud storage for Bluebeam Cloud versus what projects is and sessions. Even projects and sessions are separate cloud storage, but you can link files from projects into sessions. But you can pull PDFs from projects into cloud, but it's not lateral. So you can't dynamically push them back into projects. But you can pull from Studio Projects, which is a cloud storage within Revu desktop application, into the cloud storage of Bluebeam Cloud. So you can pull PDFs from projects into cloud, but it doesn't laterally go back. You can do a full export of a PDF package into projects of the entire project, but it's not updating back and forth. So not speaking in terms of back and forth, only one way. I think that was all of the other questions.
Yep. So Ben had a question. Downside of Bluebeam Cloud is that it's separate from sessions or projects.
Yeah, and that's what I just was talking about.
So, it's something to be noted and repeating, right? Because Studio has made it really easy for access anywhere.
So. Yeah, it comes back to like, again, I think as our job here at ATG is consulting and looking at all applications and what best fits your need versus, some organizations just try to sell you on a solution that's what they're trying to sell. That's not our mindset here at ATG. Our mindset is to partner with you, figure out what your workflows are, and provide you with the best solution. And this is case and scenario right here of we need to know what you're looking to accomplish and what the best workflow is, because for the longest time, and still, well, now there's markups in cloud that may be a differentiator here, but my thing was just use sessions. And if you're going to go out to the field, right? I know it's a little clunky on the iPad and the Surface Pro, but it's better now with the Surface Pro because it's your full application. With the new single sign-on, where I used to be, still am iPad advocate, but again, being aware of that, I would say sessions because you can mark up, you can create your own punch list through tool sets. Maybe now it is cloud. Now we're at that point where I'm just saying, well, let's just go to cloud. And then, talking with Kyle, and we could do this for you, anyone that's listening in and wants to just have a conversation with us, talk to us about your workflow. We'll talk all day and provide the best solution for you. Build. Where does, PlanGrid come in? So is there a separate application? What can you do with PlanGrid versus in Build natively?
Well, I mean, there's really no difference when you get right down to it. Everything all of the functionality in PlanGrid is already in Build plus more. Okay. So again, the reality of it is, and that's why I said earlier, I kind of refer to Build as PlanGrid 2.0. Okay. It's everything that was PlanGrid plus these extra 5 or 6 different tool sets that we can leverage that we didn't have access to. Now, again, if you've never, if this is for your team, you're just now embarking on looking at a platform for better managing your projects as a whole, okay? You would not have the ability to purchase PlanGrid, brand new, okay?
So you're thinking maybe tinfoil hat, PlanGrid may no longer be there and it's just Build.
Eventually, I feel like that's the direction that they're moving in. There's no time frame that's been discussed around this, but when you get right down to it, you stop and think about it. These are all separate platforms. The next generation BIM 360 platform that a lot of people were using with BIM 360 Design before it evolved into Autodesk Construction Cloud Unified Platform and BIM Collaborate Pro. That's a separate platform. Autodesk Construction Cloud Unified Platform. It's a separate platform. PlanGrid, separate platform. They may be hosted on the same backbone, but they're all separate platforms. And I can't see Autodesk continuing to invest the R&D dollars and even beyond that, just the maintenance and upkeep investment in manpower and resources to keep platforms available that they already have the functionality built into the newer aspect. Or the
and they
newer
talk a
version of the
lot
platform.
about like the CEO, I think, or CFO. I've listened to a couple of his talks when he's on like podcasts of like a unified platform, one centric data rich area to grab information. So that kind of tends to be this unified platform, which is Autodesk Construction Cloud unified platform.
Correct. So, again, if you're looking for a project management and field management tool set within a platform, a broader platform, Autodesk Construction Cloud very well may be a good platform to at least evaluate. Okay. Yep. I would just put it like that, to evaluate, based on what your needs are and based on, how deep you might be kind of going down that rabbit hole with your own firm and with your project partners. That's why you want to do that evaluation phase. You want to look at your options there, because again, the right size for every firm is a little bit different, and we're just here to show you those options, and then it's up to you and your team to determine what's the best fit for us. But when it comes down to thinking about, do I go PlanGrid, do I go Build? No, forget that conversation. That conversation is out the window at this point. Okay. It's Build. It's Autodesk Construction Cloud. It's Build. Yeah.
And if you want to have that conversation with us, because we are past time, let us know. We're here to give you those options in terms of show you what those capabilities are, listen to what your company's doing, and find that right solution for you, right? That's what we're proud of here at ATG, is providing the right solution for you, not trying to just push you into one solution that we're trying to sell you on, right? Yeah. I mean, point blank, because that's what you may get from other folks. We have the ability to recommend the best solution to you. But again, we're going to inform you and let you make that informed decision on what is going to be best needs for your firm. And we're here to listen for what that and consult on those options. So
absolutely. Hey guys, I know we're past our time, but I just want to take a second or two to say thank you to both of you. Okay. I really do appreciate you guys pulling me in and getting me involved here. I had a great time last week on Expresso Yourself, and obviously that led to some good conversations, and now we actually get to dive in and do some of that kind of side-by-side comparison. I've really enjoyed this, guys, and I love engaging with the crew that you've got that join these religiously almost. And so I just wanted to say thank you guys for inviting me in here. I really do appreciate it, and keep me in mind for future.
Yeah, we appreciate you, Kyle. Yeah, always. It was great. The community loved listening to you. So we truly appreciate you and your knowledge in the industry and adding that value to everyone listening in, right? Which we wouldn't be able to reach into, especially on that platform within Build. So thank you, and for everything you bring to the table and helping this community here push that needle forward. But I'll let you close this out, Mr. Hartley.
Yeah, just a reminder, next week there is no MCR because Autodesk University. So you will see Kyle and Michael there. Go say hello, and we will see you again on the 21st. So enjoy, take care, and we'll see you soon.
See you soon, everyone.